There are 11 Japanese hygiene rules that Americans break every day, and they are the reason your body smells, and you don't even know about it. Most Americans break at least 4 of them without realizing they even exist. The Japanese approach is built around the fact that a person cannot smell their own body, which is why every rule goes to the source of the smell rather than covering it up with chemical perfumes. People in the West have never been taught any of this, which is why you can shower twice a day, put on clean clothes, and still smell bad by 2 in the afternoon. The first rule we'll go through is the reason your body smells worse straight after a shower than it did before you got in. Rule number 6 is the reason that one top you like keeps smelling bad no matter how many times you wash it. And the last one is the rule that ties every other rule in this video together, and it is the one you will remember for the rest of your life. The first Japanese hygiene rule Americans break has to do with the bathroom towel. In a Japanese home, the towel is a thin cotton cloth, used once and hung out spread wide so the whole thing dries through in about 2 hours. Whereas in an American house, the towel is thick, plush terry, folded double on a hook in a windowless room, reused 6 to 10 times, and never actually dry from one shower to the next. When you leave a folded terry towel in a humid bathroom, the inside of it stays damp for more than 12 hours at a stretch, and that is more than enough time for a bacterium called Moraxella osloensis, the same species behind that sour, stale laundry smell, to multiply through the fibers. So every morning when you reach for what looks like a clean towel and rub yourself down with it, you are pressing millions of live bacteria back into the skin you just spent 10 minutes washing. If you don't believe me, go grab the towel you used this morning, hold it to your nose, and it won't smell like anything at all, because a fully dry towel never does. Now soak one corner of it under the tap for a couple of seconds and smell it again. And that faintly sour, damp smell is exactly what your own back smells like about 10 seconds after you dry off every morning. And the only reason you've never noticed is that no one has ever thought to smell the towel before using it. The catch is that a normal warm wash doesn't actually kill Moraxella, which is why the smell keeps coming back after a single use. And the Japanese answer to that is a hot soak at around 60 degrees Celsius for 15 to 20 minutes before the wash cycle even starts. So you don't really have a towel problem. You have a temperature problem, and you've had it for years without realizing. So do the hot soak tonight on the towels you already own, hang them thinner and flatter once they come out, use one per wash, and leave the bathroom door open on the way out. And none of this costs a cent or takes any extra time. You dry a clean body with a wet towel because you never question the towel, and you also wash that body in the wrong order for exactly the same reason. The second Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about the order in which you wash yourself. In a Japanese bathroom, you rinse and soap yourself completely before you ever get into the tub, and hair gets shampooed first with the body washed after it, so that nothing runs down a clean back on the way out. In an American shower, you stand in your own runoff for 10 minutes, wash your body somewhere in the middle, and shampoo your hair last, which means the last thing coating your back and shoulders before you step out is a thin film of conditioner and shampoo residue that then sits on your skin for the next 16 hours. And that same residue on the upper back is the standard dermatological explanation for back acne. So flip the order, hair first, body second, and then 30 seconds of plain water down your back with your head tipped forward before you step out. There is a timing piece to this as well. In Japan, the bath is the last thing you do before bed, so the whole day gets washed off before your skin ever touches the sheets. Whereas in America, you shower in the morning and then carry the whole day. Sweat, oil, city air, whatever landed on you at lunch, straight into bed at night, and you sleep in it for 8 hours. So of course you wash the sheets, and they only feel fresh for 2 nights. And you've assumed that is just how sheets work. Move the shower to the evening for 1 week and see what happens. Keep the morning rinse if you want, because it's the evening one that changes the bed. Fixing the order of the shower only helps if the thing you're actually scrubbing with is doing its job, and this is where the third rule comes in, because yours is not. In a Japanese bathroom, the scrubbing tool is a long, narrow nylon body towel called an awa-awa, which whips up a dense foam within seconds, easily reaches the whole back, and hangs stiff and dry within an hour of the last shower. In an American shower, the tool is a plastic mesh poof that lives permanently in the wettest corner of the room and the way it is built. a puffed up bunch of folded netting, is basically designed to trap water, soap film, and dead skin in a warm, dark space. And it does exactly that for months on end without ever properly drying out in between. Try to name the month you bought your loofah, and you won't be able to because nobody can. The thing is probably older than your last relationship, and it has never once been fully dry. So throw the poof in the bin, spend $8 on a proper nylon body towel, hang it outside the shower where actual air can reach it, and replace it once a month. You have been washing with a colony and drying with one, and that is really the pattern behind all 11 of these rules. The Japanese are not showering harder than you are, they are just removing the source of the smell instead of covering it up. And there are hundreds more habits like these that Japanese families have used for generations to keep their homes fresh and clean. I have pulled all of them together into a book, and it is over at thejapanesemethod.com. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy and start transforming your daily routine today. Now, the next rule is about the thing you spray onto wet skin every morning without ever questioning it. The fourth Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about when and how you put on deodorant. In a Japanese drugstore, the dominant category is the body sheet, a wet wipe from Gatsby or Ban that removes the sweat and the bacteria from your skin before anything else goes on. In an American house, you spray deodorant onto a damp armpit at 7 in the morning, straight after the shower, right before the sweatiest 12 hours of the day, and on top of yesterday's residue. Antiperspirant works by forming a plug inside the sweat duct, so it needs dry skin and low sweat flow to actually do the job. When you apply it to damp skin in the morning, it washes straight out inside an hour. The dermatological recommendation almost nobody has heard is that you apply antiperspirant at night to dry skin when your body is not sweating, so that it has hours to actually plug the duct. The yellow shirt stain is not sweat. It is aluminum from your antiperspirant bonding with the protein in your sweat. You bought the stain, so apply it at night to dry skin, wash the armpit itself with actual friction using the towel from the last rule, and carry wipes for the day so that you can remove rather than layer on top. Japan sells adhesive underarm sweat pads called Ace Wakey, worn on the inside of the shirt as a mainstream drugstore category. What the product matters less than is what it admits, which is that the shirt is the reservoir and not the skin. That is the single sentence that explains the thing you have never been able to explain, which is why you can shower twice a day and still smell by 2 in the afternoon. You have been treating the skin, and the smell is living in the fabric 2 millimeters away from the skin, being reheated by your body all day long. Which means the problem was never really your armpit. It was 2 millimeters away from it, inside whatever you decided to wear, and what that shirt is made of decides everything. Before we get to the shirt, we need to talk about what happens to it between the last time you wore it and the next. The fifth Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about how your clothes get dry. In a Japanese apartment, laundry is hung outside on the balcony as the default, even in cities, even in tall apartment buildings, because balconies are designed for it, and ultraviolet light from the sun is a genuine antibacterial. In an American laundry room, the clothes go into a tumble dryer, which is a dark warm box at a temperature that does not kill odor bacteria, and the worn shirt then goes straight back into a closed closet with the day's sweat sealed into the fibers. That is the reason for the phantom smell. The shirt smells fine on the hanger in your closet, and then 20 minutes into your day it reeks. Bacteria and sebum survive a cold wash, especially with fabric softener in the mix, and body heat plus moisture reactivate them the moment you put the shirt back on. The shirt passed the sniff test in your closet. It failed it in the meeting. You have one shirt you have stopped wearing without ever deciding to. It is still in the closet. You never worked out what was wrong with it. The softener residue is what was wrong with it, and no wash was ever going to fix it because you were washing it with the cause. The routine Japanese household answer to smell in laundry has nothing to do with fragrance at all, and it is a periodic oxygen bleach soak called Sanso-kei Hyohakazai. You soak the fabric in hot water with oxygen bleach before the wash, and the residue and the bacteria come off. Same principle as your towels, same temperature. Japan's answer to a smell is almost always a soak. You will see people out there recommending Japanese fabric softener as a fragrance you wear through your laundry. That is the American instinct wearing a Japanese label. It is the same layering in a nicer bottle, and the residue is what starts the smell in the first place. I covered the machine itself in my video on why your house smells. So use an oxygen bleach soak for anything that has started to smell, hang the base layers in the sun where you can, run a hotter wash for anything worn against the skin, and air out a worn shirt for 30 minutes before it goes back on the rail. The soak fixes cotton. It cannot fix what most of your closet is actually made of. The sixth Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about what your clothes are made of. This is why the armpit rule only half worked for you. You fixed the skin. You kept wearing the tank top. In a Japanese wardrobe, the layer touching the skin is cotton, linen, or hemp, and there is a whole separate category of garment called hadajai, which means base layer, and it is treated as a category apart from the outer clothing. In an American wardrobe, you wear polyester athleisure for 16 hours a day, from the gym to errands to the couch to bed to the gym again. The surface of polyester is oleophilic, which means the sebum from your skin bonds to it and does not wash out at any normal wash temperature. A bacterium called Micrococcus lives on synthetic fibers and converts that bonded sebum into the sharp, sour odor you already know from your gym clothes. Cotton does not do this. It is a property of the fibre itself, and it is not a hygiene failure on your part. Your gym shirt smells the second it gets warm, and no wash has ever fixed it. No wash ever will. It is not dirty. It is a plastic that has absorbed you. Think about how you decide something is clean enough to wear again. You smell the front of it. You have never once smelled the collar. While we are on the subject, look at what actually goes unwashed in the American wardrobe. Jeans for a week, a bra for 4 or 5 wears, a hoodie until it is visibly dirty, a coat collar and the lining of a jacket that have never been washed at all, ever, since the day the coat was bought. The layers of clothing closest to your skin are the ones that get washed the least. So put cotton against the skin, pre-soak synthetics in vinegar, wash the gym gear one time only before it goes back on, wipe down coat collars with a damp cloth every week, and accept that some garments are just finished. Throw them out. There is one more piece of clothing you own that has never been washed and never will be, and you put your feet inside it for 14 hours a day. The seventh Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about your shoes. In a Japanese home, shoes come off at the genkan, and pairs are rotated so that no pair is worn 2 days in a row, which gives every pair 24 to 48 hours to fully dry out in a ventilated storage space, often with charcoal inserts in the shoe. In an American house, you wear the same pair of sneakers every single day, with synthetic socks or with no socks at all, and store them at night in a dark closed closet. A shoe absorbs a substantial volume of sweat every day, and it needs a full day to dry back out. Worn every day, it never dries. The compound behind the foot odor is isovaleric acid, produced by a bacterium called Brevibacterium. Brevibacterium linens is the exact bacterium used to ripen Limburger cheese. Your feet and the cheese smell identical because they are made by the same organism. You have a pair you have retired inside your head without ever admitting why. They are still in the closet. The other half of this rule is the feet themselves. Nobody has ever told an American adult to wash between their toes. You let the water run over them in the shower and call that washing. That gap between your toes stays damp inside a sock, inside a shoe for 14 hours, and no other part of the body gets that combination of moisture, warmth, and no air. When you take your socks off at the end of the day, there is a moment where you check. You already know what this rule is about. So keep 2 pairs of shoes, minimum in rotation, give each pair 24 hours of rest between wears, use cedar or charcoal inserts, wear cotton or wool socks, and never store a damp shoe in a closed closet. And soap the feet properly and dry between the toes with a towel every single night. That is the smell coming off the ground. The next one is coming out of your face, and someone in your life has already noticed. The 8th Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about your tongue. In a Japanese bathroom, cleaning the tongue is a distinct step from brushing the teeth, done every morning, and the country has one of the highest rates of routine dental hygienist attendance in the world. In an American bathroom, you brush your teeth, rinse with mouthwash, and assume the job is done. The large majority of bad breath actually comes from a biofilm on the back of the tongue, and it has almost nothing to do with your teeth. Brushing your teeth does almost nothing to that biofilm. Mouthwash kills the surface bacteria, and the layer of dead cells it leaves behind becomes food for the next round of bacteria, which is why the fresh feeling lasts 20 minutes and then comes back worse than it was before. What makes breath different from every other rule in this video is that somebody in your life has known about it for years. It was not a stranger. It was somebody who loves you, who decided that telling you would hurt you more than not telling you, and who has been managing the distance between you ever since. The people closest to you are the least likely to say it. The other half of the mechanism is your saliva. Saliva is the body's own defense against bad breath, and it drops overnight and during long, silent stretches in the day. That is why your breath is worst first thing in the morning and again after 3 quiet hours at your desk. It is also why the Japanese habit of rinsing your mouth with water after every meal actually works, because the particles get flushed before the bacteria can start on them. Xylitol gum does the same job by stimulating your saliva to flow, and the point of the gum is the flow, and never the mint. So buy a $3 metal tongue scraper and use that instead of your toothbrush, because a toothbrush does not have the edge to lift biofilm off the surface. Do 6 passes front to back, which takes 10 seconds and attaches easily to something you already do. Rinse with water after meals, and chew gum to get the saliva flowing. Those were 8 rules about the interface between your body and the world. The last 3 of these are about the system around it, which is the room you cook in, the food you put in your body, and the smell you have never once been able to reach. The systems start with the one on top of your head. The 9th Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about your hair. In Japan, the yakiniku problem is a recognized cultural anxiety, and people genuinely avoid grilled meat restaurants on the day of a date because hair holds the smoke long after they leave. Hair mists exist as a whole shelf category in Japanese drugstores. In an American house, you cook with oil on an open pan, in a room with the door shut and no extractor fan running, and then you go to work. Your head is doing 2 separate things to you at the same time. The scalp itself produces, because it carries one of the highest concentrations of oil glands on the body, and it traps sweat under hair all day long. And the hair itself absorbs, because it is porous, has an enormous surface area, and holds airborne oil aerosol from the room around you. Cooking aerosol travels roughly 15 feet from the stove, which is a number I put on the whiteboard in the house video. You smell like last night's dinner, and you have never known it. Your coworkers can date your meals. When someone hugs you, their face passes your shoulder and stops at your hair. That is the part of you people actually meet. Dry shampoo is starch laid over sebum. It does not remove anything, it covers. It extends the wash and cannot replace it. And 4 days running is the 3rd law of this video in miniature. So turn the extractor fan on before the pan gets hot, shut the kitchen door and open the window, tie the hair back while you cook and brush it out afterwards, and wash it at night and dry it properly before bed rather than sleeping on a damp scalp. Even if the room stops writing on you, what you eat inside it still does. The 10th Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about the food itself. A Japanese diet has a lower baseline of dairy and red meat, a high intake of fermented soy, and green tea catechins are used as an actual deodorizing agent, with catechin-treated socks and shirts as a real retail category over there and not a novelty. An American diet is high in garlic, onion, coffee, dairy, and red meat, and it rests on the belief that brushing your teeth handles it. The compound in garlic called allicin, and the sulfur metabolites that come from it get absorbed straight into the bloodstream and leave the body through the lungs and the skin for up to 48 hours after the meal. Brushing your teeth addresses none of that. What you ate on Sunday is still on your skin on Tuesday. You cannot brush a smell that is not coming from your mouth. So drink green tea, drink water, and know the 48-hour window before anything in your calendar that matters. 10 rules in, and the accusation has stacked pretty high. Pause the video. Run a finger behind your ear, hard, and then smell it. I will wait. The 11th Japanese hygiene rule Americans break is about a part of your body you have never smelled. Remember the collar I told you about back in Rule 6. The patch of neck you were told to remember is this one, and the unwashed coat collar has been sitting against it all winter, twice a day, for years. The Japanese word for it is karishu, which literally translates as aging odor. It was identified by Japanese cosmetics research around 2001. The compound behind it is called 2-nonenal, produced when fatty acids on the skin get oxidized, and the amount of it your skin produces increases sharply from around the age of 40. The compound concentrates on the back of the neck, the upper back, behind the ears, and the chest. Those are the 4 places on your own body you have never smelled and physically cannot reach with your nose. There is no test you can run on yourself. 2 non-anal binds to skin protein. Ordinary soap does not remove it. You can shower twice a day and still carry it. The reason nobody has ever told you about this is that America has no vocabulary for it. Japan has a workplace term called sumehara, which translates roughly as smell harassment, and it is used for odor in shared professional space and discussed openly in human resources terms. Japan also has an entire retail category built around the problem. Persimmon tannin soap, called Kaki Shibu, is sold in every drugstore over there, marketed specifically for Kurishu. Silver ion products sit on the same shelf, sold on the same logic. There is no equivalent aisle in an American store. Konica Minolta built a handheld consumer device called the Kunkun Body, which you hold against your armpit, your feet, your head, or behind your ears, and it scores your own odor numerically on an app on your phone. A country looked at the fact that you cannot smell yourself and decided the answer to it was to build an instrument. That is how seriously this is taken somewhere else and how little it is taken here. Your kids know what you smell like. They have known for years. It is the smell of home to them, and one day it is the smell they will go looking for in a drawer. Nobody was ever going to mention it to you because to them it was never a problem. It was you. So use persimmon tannin soap. Wash the nape of your neck, behind your ears, and your upper back deliberately with a nylon towel from Rule 3. And change your pillowcase every 2 or 3 days because the compound transfers straight into the pillow and gets reapplied to your skin every single night. There is one more, and I am not going to number it because it works one level above all the others. A single gene called ABCC11 governs the secretion in the armpit that odor-causing bacteria feed on, and the low odor variant of that gene is common across East Asia and rare in Europe and Africa. The same gene also determines what your earwax looks like. Dry, flaky earwax means you have the low odor variant. Wet, sticky earwax means you have the other one. You can check in 10 seconds and know your own genotype. Japan's traditional ear cleaning tool is called a mimikaki, which is a small bamboo scoop. A scoop works on dry, flaky earwax and is close to useless on wet, sticky earwax, which is why the Western drugstore aisle sells drops and irrigation kits instead. The tool is shaped like the gene. Japan has been making that tool for centuries, and it is a scoop. Ask yourself why a scoop works there and not here, and you will have worked out the rest of this video on your own. Americans grew up assuming body odor is a fixed condition to be covered up. It is not. It is 11 objects, and every one of them is fixable. There is a 3-question test you can run on any hygiene routine you are already doing. The first question is, am I removing this or am I covering it? The second is this thing wet right now when it should be dry? And the third is this a place my own nose can physically reach? The best thing to start with tonight is the towel soak. It costs nothing, it rescues something you already own, and you will notice the result in the shower tomorrow morning. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Check out my previous video appearing on your screen, and I will see you in my next video.